Now to an important real-life experiment, a schooling on the idiocy of a dangerous idea that promoted by the media left. You'll remember, I've showed you before, the journalists, particularly on Channel 10, running with this Black Lives Matter slogan to cut the police or abolish the police, defenders of this rotten, racist, capitalist society.
What, getting rid of the whole police force?
Well, I mean, I'm going to put it out there, yes, if that's what it's going to take.
They've done it before. Camden, New Jersey, Compton, California.
Did it work? Well, why wouldn't this work, replied Waleed Ali. Well, let me take you back again to Seattle, capital of Washington State, where the left-wing mayor has let activists take over about 5 blocks of the city about 3 weeks ago, 3 and a bit, and let them drive out the police from their station or precinct, which remains now abandoned. That part of the city is now a far-left zone where police are banned and African Americans are supposedly safe, except they're not. This zone has now had 6 shootings and 2 killings, where all the victims are black. This is what a left-wing and anarchist utopia actually looks like in real life. I'm hoping that you're making sure that your children see this. This is better than a school textbook. A week and a half ago, a 19-year-old was shot dead in a gunfight. I've told you that before. But now, on Monday, a 16-year-old boy was killed and his 14-year-old friend critically injured when they drove their car into this no police zone, somehow triggering a gunfight with protest zone occupiers. Police investigated that killing there, that latest one, got 0 cooperation from the occupiers and then pulled out.
As soon as we are done here, those vehicles will leave with us. We're not going to be leaving any component here.
Now, photojournalist Andy Ngo is editor-at-large of the Post-Millennial, the Canadian conservative news website. He's been documenting this and other extreme left-wing protests, particularly in Portland, Oregon, and that's got him a lot of death threats. He was even bashed, and last week he gave evidence to Congress on what he's seen. He joined me earlier. Andy Ngo, thank you so much indeed for your time. There's now been 2 killings in this no police zone in Seattle. Take us through what exactly happened. Who's doing the shooting?
Yeah, so in a span of 10 days now, we've had 4 shootings, two people who have died. All of the victims, whether dead or injured, have been black males in a zone that was ostensibly created to be a refuge for Black lives, according to those running the space. So about 2 days ago now, the shooting into the Jeep of the people who were driving actually ended up killing a 16-year-old boy and critically injuring a 14-year-old boy. He's still clinging on for his life. The circumstances of the shooting is unclear as the other ones, because the people in the so-called autonomous zone are refusing to cooperate with police. And the police chief actually said that the evidence scene had been tampered with, unfortunately. So evidence was taken out of the car. Photographs and live stream footage of the immediate aftermath put online were extremely disturbing. You could see all the blood inside. And the response from the people in the autonomous zone was quite sociopathic. You could hear one person say, "You're not dead yet." So this is what's happening in the middle of a major American city in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, I noticed that one of a survivor of the first shooting claimed that white racists attacked him, but I'm not sure that anyone is believing that. Can you tell me, we've got footage, I've seen footage of police investigating the latest shootings, some say by heavily armed so-called security, their own security, firing into that car. But the police saying, we're leaving now. They weren't staying, even though there's a police station that they've deserted inside that very zone. Why aren't police reclaiming control of that area?
I'm glad you brought up the point about who the alleged perpetrators of the shooting this week are. It's allegedly the security of the autonomous zone, which is quite a disturbing detail because these are the people that many of us have been warning about. Essentially, anybody who wanted to take up arms to go in the space and claim to be security essentially could be. What's happening next at the zone? Well, it seems like it's boiled over to a point now where the mayor can no longer claim that it's a summer of love and a peaceful expression of democracy. She took steps earlier today, actually, to dismantle some of the concrete barriers that the city had actually helped in providing to this space. So what some of the people who are remaining in this zone are doing is they are moving right in front of the former East Police Precinct and occupying that space directly and setting up their own additional barricades. The East Precinct is their crown jewel. They refuse to give that back to the city.
Well, it's really quite weird. And meanwhile, of course, we've got trouble in the state's biggest city, where you've got people actually attacking another police station there, what you call a precinct, with police still inside and trying to burn it.
Yes, that happened actually last week in Portland, about 3 hours away from Seattle. So that's the city where I do most of my reporting. Last week, Antifa mobs occupied the space where the North Police Precinct is and actually barricaded the exits and set it on fire. Fortunately, police were able to put out the fires and retake that space, but the rioters just moved to the residential area, the business area, and started fires on the streets and began looting. And so while many of the riots in the rest of the United States have sort of ebbed a bit, it's continued very strong in the Pacific Northwest. And yesterday, actually last night, in the Central Police Precinct, another one in downtown Portland, they were putting plywood and other flammable barricade materials in front of one of the egress doors, and police cleared them out before it was set on fire. So they're doing this day after day, draining the city of millions and millions of dollars in resources.
Well, I take it the fact that the police have not moved into that zone in Seattle, the fact that policing on the back foot in Portland, nothing much is being done, indicates the politics of the mayors of those cities and the politics of the governor.
Yes, unfortunately, current political climate in the U.S. is if you defend law and order, if you defend law-abiding citizens, actually, you're on the losing end in terms of politics. So nobody actually wants to defend people who have been affected by the riots. What was so troubling when I gave my statement at a hearing to U.S. Congress yesterday is that to the Democrats there, they completely ignored all the evidence I presented of the hundreds of millions of dollars in damages across the U.S., the 24 lives that have been lost, the hundreds of injuries that have been put on police from coast to coast. They ignored all that and have been describing the protests as peaceful. So we can't even come to a point of agreeing on what's confirmed by the facts and what has actually happened.
You're giving us a glimpse of Lord of the Flies with guns and ideology, so you're doing a great work, even if some politicians are deaf to your message. Thank you so much indeed for your time.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Quite extraordinary. American capital city where armed leftists control a whole section of it, including a police station. Can you believe it?